Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're diving into India's biggest news stories today. March 3rd, 2025.
Yeah.
We've got a whole stack of articles and reports here.
Yeah.
This really fascinating stuff paints a vivid picture of what's happening across India right now.
Yeah, it's really diverse.
It is. There's a lot going on. We've got legal trends affecting businesses, big debates about education, some exciting cricket updates.
Oh, and peace initiatives, right?
Yeah, even a peace initiative. So let's just jump right in, shall we?
Sounds good.
Okay. One of the things that really stood out to me from all this material is how complex it's becoming to do business in India. There are reports here that project a huge surge in legal expenses for companies.
Really?
Yeah, like estimates are topping 60,000 crore
Wow.
this fiscal year.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, that's a lot. It makes sense, though.
It does.
Well, think about it. There's a ton of stuff happening.
Like what?
Well, digital transformation is happening really fast. And that comes with, its own set of legal challenges.
Right.
Then there's all the M&A activity, mergers and acquisitions. Companies need lawyers to help figure those deals out. They can be complicated.
Makes sense.
Plus, regulations are always changing. Businesses need resources just to keep up and stay compliant.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
One CEO even called it, Ritvik Lukos.
Okay.
He called it navigating intricate legal and regulatory frameworks.
Yeah.
Sounds like a real pain.
It can be, definitely. But, it's not all bad.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. Good legal frameworks help attract foreign investment.
Okay.
It makes for a stable business environment.
That's true.
So, yeah, the rising costs are a challenge, but
Yeah,
they're a sign that India's economy is maturing.
That's an interesting perspective.
Thanks.
So anyone out there listening, if you're following global business, you really need to keep an eye on this.
Absolutely. It shows you what's happening in India's corporate world and the risks and the opportunities.
Okay, let's switch gears a bit to a topic that's causing some controversy. The new education policy.
NEP 2020.
Right, the NEP 2020.
Yep.
Specifically, the language stuff.
Right.
It's interesting, right? You've got the education minister defending the focus on multilingualism, even mentioned using Tamil in Tamil Nadu specifically. But then the chief minister of Tamil Nadu, Stalin, he's pushing back hard, says it's just a way to push Hindi on everyone.
Right.
Two very different takes on it.
Definitely. Deep cultural and political stuff at play there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What stood out to me was Stalin's argument that learning new languages might not even be necessary in the future. Because of all the amazing translation technology we have now.
Oh, yeah.
It makes you think, could technology actually solve this whole issue?
I mean, it's a really interesting question, but it brings up another question, I think.
What's that?
Well, technology can translate the words, yeah. But can it really translate the cultural stuff that comes with language? The identity that's tied up in it.
That's a really good point.
Language is so complex, it's not just words,
Yeah. So technology can't fix everything.
Doesn't seem like it, at least not yet.
Okay. Let's talk about something a bit less, controversial. India's economy.
Right.
GEP estimates have been a bit all over the place lately.
They have. Remember that drop in the second quarter?
Of FY25, yeah.
Everyone was worried about a slowdown.
Right.
But then the revised figures, they actually look pretty positive.
Yeah, the upward revisions for FY24 and FY23 were a big surprise.
Definitely.
Like the economy was doing better than anyone thought.
Exactly. It shows you just how difficult economic forecasting can be.
Yeah, it really does. What was interesting to me is how much they underestimated private consumption demand.
Oh, yeah. That was revised upwards like crazy.
Right. So people are still spending.
It seems so. Suggests that the Indian consumer is, pretty tough, resilient.
Yeah, that's good news for anyone out there watching the global economy.
For sure.
India is still growing, even if it's not always a perfectly smooth ride.
Exactly. Economies are complex. You never know what's going to happen.
Okay, let's move from numbers to something, a bit more fun.
Okay.
Cricket. Varun Chakravarthy, have you heard about him?
Oh, yeah. He's been making headlines.
He's giving the Indian team a good headache, apparently.
A headache.
That's what they're calling it. I think our listeners who love a good sports story will enjoy this one.
I'm sure they will.
So his performance in the Champions Trophy?
Amazing.
Really remarkable. He took 5 wickets.
In his second ODI.
Right. Against New Zealand.
Yeah.
Total game changer.
Yeah, incredible comeback for him, especially after that rough time he had in the T20 World Cup.
Right. a few years back.
But it also makes things tough for the captain,
Rohit Sharma.
Yeah, Rohit Sharma, he has to make a tough call about the lineup for the semifinal against Australia.
Too much talent. It's a good problem to have.
Exactly, but still a problem.
Definitely makes things interesting, though.
Absolutely.
It just reminds you that sports, it's not just about the numbers.
Yeah.
It's the human stories, too.
Absolutely. That's what makes it so compelling.
Speaking of human stories, let's talk about something a bit more serious.
Okay.
The situation with Nepalese students over at KIT University.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Really raises questions about how universities treat international students. There was a death, a Nepalese student died, and then protests.
Right, and expulsions. Hundreds of students.
Right, and they were reinstated, but
there's a lot of uncertainty. Fear. It's a mess.
it is a mess. One lawmaker, Madan Kumari Shah,
Yeah.
she's calling for the government to come up with a clear rehabilitation plan.
It's really important, to figure out what went wrong and make sure it doesn't happen again.
Yeah. I mean, it highlights the importance of being sensitive to other cultures, communicating clearly, and just having good support systems for these students who are far from home in a very different culture.
Yeah, I mean, universities have to create a safe environment. It's their responsibility.
Okay, so from a story that's kind of a downer to one that's a bit more hopeful.
What's that?
India's getting its first ever World Peace Center.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
It is. It was just inaugurated.
Nice.
And it's being run by Ahimsa Vishwabharti.
Okay.
With guidance from Jain Acharya Lokesh.
Okay.
They're going to promote peace, nonviolence, harmony, all that good stuff.
That's great. Where is it?
It's in Gurugram.
Gurugram. Okay.
In Haryana. And I think it's really fitting that it's there,
Why is that?
Gurugram is like the center of India's economic boom.
Yeah, that's true.
So to have this center for peace right in the middle of all that hustle and bustle. Yeah. Acharya Lokesh, he said something at the inauguration that really stuck with me. He said, "The establishment of this center is aimed at reawakening spiritual consciousness and moral values in a world that is increasingly focused on material pursuits."
It's a really powerful message, especially now when it seems like the world is so divided and there's so much conflict everywhere.
I know, right?
The center with its focus on knowledge, philosophy, character, it's like a different path.
It's a reminder that peace isn't just about stopping wars, it's about how we live our lives.
Absolutely, and we all have a role to play. We can all work towards a more peaceful world.
So true. Okay, back to the world of politics now.
Yeah.
Where things are definitely not peaceful, usually.
Okay.
The NDA bloc. Remember them?
The one that came together to take on the BJP.
Yeah, that's the one. Well, it looks like they're having some internal issues.
Really?
Yeah. You know how it is with political alliances, right?
Tough to keep everyone happy.
Exactly. You got all these different parties, each with their own agenda, trying to present a united front. But it's not easy, especially with elections coming up in states like Bengal, Kerala, and Punjab.
So what's happening?
Well, it seems like there's some tension between, parties like Congress, TMC, and the left.
Okay.
They could end up fighting each other for the same seats, which would obviously hurt the bloc as a whole.
Right.
So the big question is, can they stay united?
That's a tough one.
It is. And, the outcome of those state elections could really depend on how they navigate all this.
It's a classic political dilemma. How do you balance unity with individual goals?
Politics is all about strategy, compromise, and sometimes just plain luck.
Yeah, you never know what's going to happen.
Okay, let's talk about something a bit more, inspirational.
Okay.
Science and innovation.
Right.
India had two really cool visitors recently, Dr. Brian Greene.
The physicist.
Yeah, renowned physicist.
Yeah.
And Mike Massimino.
Oh, the former NASA astronaut.
Exactly. They both went to see the Taj Mahal. Yeah. It wasn't just a touristy thing, though.
No.
No. It was like a symbolic moment,
Like what?
India standing at this crossroads of tradition and modernity.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah. You've got Dr. Greene, this guy exploring the mysteries of the universe, standing there in awe of this monument to human creativity and skill.
And Massimino, who's seen the Earth from space.
Exactly.
And he's saying the Taj Mahal is even more beautiful from the ground.
I know, it's really beautiful.
It's like the best of humanity, all in one place, the ancient and the modern.
I love that. And it wasn't just about the beauty of it all.
No.
No, Dr. Greene talked about how impressed he is with young Indian scientists and researchers.
Yeah.
Yeah. He sees so much enthusiasm, so much talent. And Massimino, he talked about how important India is becoming in the global science scene.
India is definitely making its mark. It's a country that values knowledge.
Absolutely. So it's not just about ancient wisdom. It's about moving forward, pushing boundaries.
Discovering new things.
Exactly. Which brings us to a story about a different kind of innovation.
Okay.
Online content creation.
Ah, okay.
Specifically, a YouTuber named Ranveer Alabadia.
Yeah, I've heard of him. Big following.
Yeah, huge. Well, he made a joke on his show, a pretty controversial one.
Really?
Yeah. And it's got everyone talking about the limits of humor, free speech, all that stuff. Especially in the digital world.
Makes sense.
Right. Where's the line? When does creative expression become, harmful?
It's a tough one, isn't it?
It is. I mean, some people say comedy should push boundaries, challenge what's considered acceptable.
Right, right.
But then others say words have power.
Yeah.
And online, that power is even bigger.
Yeah. And you have to be careful.
Yeah. I think Alabadia's joke, a lot of people found it offensive, insensitive.
Okay.
It's a good example of how complex this is.
Yeah.
We're all figuring it out as we go.
It's a whole new world online, different rules.
Yeah. And real-world consequences, even if it's just online. Okay. Let's shift to the financial world now. Things are heating up over there, too.
What's happening?
The Securities and Exchange Board of India, SEBI, and the Bombay Stock Exchange, the BSE, they're in for a legal battle.
Really? What about?
So there are allegations that they let a fraudulent company list on the stock exchange, which obviously could have hurt investors a lot.
Yeah, that's bad.
Both SEBI and the BSE are denying it completely.
Okay.
And they're going to fight a court order that wants an investigation into what happened.
Oh, wow. High stakes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And it really shows how important regulation and oversight are, in finance especially.
Make sure things are fair, then investors are protected.
Exactly. Okay. And finally, some good news for car buyers in India.
All right, I like good news.
The Maruti Suzuki Alto K10.
Okay.
It's now the most affordable car in India that comes with 6 airbags standard.
Wow, that's a big deal for safety.
It is. And it sends a message, right?
Yeah.
Safety shouldn't be a luxury, even in a more affordable car.
It's a win for consumers.
Definitely. And it could change the whole industry.
Maybe other manufacturers will follow suit.
You never know.
That's India for you. Always changing, always interesting.
Absolutely.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We're going to keep digging into those India headlines.
Yeah, before the break, we were talking about accountability.
Yeah, whether it's in financial markets, online, even in cricket. Seems like it's everywhere.
Definitely keeps popping up. Speaking of which, let's talk about the NDA bloc.
Oh, the political alliance.
Yeah, they wanted to take on the BJP, but
it's not so easy, right? Keeping a coalition together.
Never is. They're having some internal struggles, it seems.
Yeah, makes sense. So many different parties, all those different viewpoints.
Exactly. They're trying to present a united front, but those elections are coming up.
Big ones in Bengal, Kerala, Punjab. Right.
Right. And you could have, like, Congress, TMC, the left, even AAP all going for the same seats.
That would split the vote for sure.
Big time. Yeah. So can they stay united? That's the question.
It's tough. You got to balance everyone's individual goals with the bigger picture.
That's politics. Always a balancing act. Let's switch gears completely. Yeah. Let's talk about science and history. Dr. Brian Greene.
Yeah, the physicist.
And Mike Massimino, former NASA astronaut. They were both in India recently.
What, like a science tour?
Kind of, yeah. They even visited the Taj Mahal.
Wow, that's cool.
It was more than just sightseeing, though, I think. It was almost like a symbol,
Of what?
Of India itself, this mix of the ancient and the modern.
I like that.
You've got Dr. Greene exploring the universe, its mysteries, and he's standing there, blown away by this monument built centuries ago.
Human ingenuity, right.
Right. And then you have Massimino. He's seen Earth from space.
The ultimate perspective.
Yeah. And he's saying the Taj Mahal is even more beautiful from down here.
I get it, yeah. Like appreciating the details you can't see from far away.
It was really cool. And they talked about more than just aesthetics, too.
Oh.
Dr. Greene was super impressed with young Indian scientists, all the research happening there.
It's a hub for science these days, for sure.
Yeah, and Massimino talked about how important India is becoming in the global science community.
Collaboration is key, especially for the big challenges.
Exactly. Okay, let's go back to a story we touched on earlier.
Okay.
The YouTuber, Ranveer Alabadia.
The one with the controversial joke.
Yeah. This whole thing has really sparked a debate about humor online.
It's tricky, right? Free speech, but also being responsible.
So tricky. On the one hand, you want people to be able to express themselves.
Push boundaries, make people think.
Exactly. But then, words have power.
Especially online, it spreads so fast.
And it can be hard to predict how a joke will land, what the impact will be.
Alabadia's joke, it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way.
Yeah. It's a good reminder to think before you post, I guess.
Definitely. Especially if you have a big following.
For sure. Okay, let's move on to SEBI and the BSE.
What's going on with this?
Well, remember those allegations that they let a fraudulent company list on the stock exchange?
Oh, yeah, that's serious.
Very serious. They're denying everything, of course.
Okay.
And now they're saying the court didn't give them a fair chance to defend themselves.
So they're going to fight the investigation.
Exactly. It's a big legal battle.
And it could have a huge impact on how these organizations are regulated in the future.
Yeah. It's all about maintaining trust in financial markets,
Absolutely. If people don't trust the system, it all falls apart.
Right. Okay, let's end on a positive note.
Good. I need some good news.
This is a big win for car safety in India.
Ooh. What is it?
The Maruti Suzuki Alto K10.
Okay. Yeah, I know that car.
Well, they've made 6 airbags standard.
Wow. Across all the models.
Yeah. And it's now the most affordable car in India with that level of safety.
That's incredible. Really shows they're listening to what people want.
Yeah, and it could push other car companies to do the same.
Competition is good for safety.
It is. So it's a win for consumers, and hopefully it'll make a difference.
Yeah. Safety shouldn't be a luxury.
Absolutely. Okay, let's talk about something completely different now.
Okay, what is it?
India's first World Peace Center. It was just inaugurated.
That's amazing. Where is it?
Gurugram, in Haryana.
Okay, cool.
It's run by Ahimsa Vishwaparty, and they're working with Jain Acharya Lokesh.
He's a big advocate for peace, right?
Yeah, he is. And at the inauguration, he said something that really stuck with me.
What was that?
He said, "The establishment of this center is aimed at reawakening spiritual consciousness and moral values in a world that is increasingly focused on material pursuits."
It's a powerful message, like in the middle of all the hustle and bustle.
Yeah, Gurugram is like the heart of India's economic growth.
And they're building a peace center right there. I love it.
It's like saying peace is for everyone. It's
Yeah.
not just this abstract idea. It's something we need to actively work towards.
Especially now when the world feels so divided.
I know, right? It's a good reminder that we all have a part to play. Okay, enough serious stuff for now. Let's go back to sports.
Sounds good.
What's the latest in cricket?
India is getting ready for a big semifinal clash against Australia in the Champions Trophy.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
And all eyes are on Varun Chakravarthy.
The spinner.
Yeah. Remember he had that amazing comeback performance?
The 5 wickets against New Zealand.
Right. And now the captain, Rohit Sharma, has to decide if he'll play in the semifinal.
Tough decision, but a good problem to have. Too much talent.
Exactly. Makes it even more exciting, We'll have to wait and see what Sharma decides.
I'm on the edge of my seat already.
Okay, let's end with a story that's a bit more serious.
All right, what is it?
The situation with Nepalese students at Kaya University.
Yeah, that's been in the news a lot lately.
It really raises questions about how international students are treated in India.
It's a big concern for sure.
There was a death, remember? And protests, students being expelled and then reinstated.
It's a really tense situation. Yeah. One lawmaker, Madan Kumari Shah, is asking the government to come up with a clear plan to address the issues.
Makes sense. They need to figure out how to prevent this kind of thing from happening again.
Absolutely. And it highlights the importance of universities taking care of their international students.
Yeah, the students are far from home, they need support.
And they need to feel safe. So it's a complex situation with no easy answers.
Definitely. But it's an important conversation to have.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're wrapping up our look at India's top news stories today.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey.
It has. We've gone from economics to politics, cricket to peace initiatives. And, one thing that keeps coming up,
What's that?
accountability.
Oh, yeah, holding people responsible for their actions.
Exactly, whether it's businesses, online platforms, even governments.
It's crucial, right? For a healthy society, you gotta have transparency, accountability.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, let's talk about Shashi Tharoor.
The politician.
Yeah, he made some interesting comments about industrial growth in Kerala.
What did he say?
Well, it seems like he shifted his stance a bit. He used to be more optimistic, but now he's saying, look, we need to see real results, not just promises.
That's fair. Actions speak louder than words. Right?
Exactly. He's even a little disappointed,
Disappointed, why?
He says the reality on the ground doesn't match all the hype about progress.
Oh, Interesting.
Yeah, there's a report that shows over 42,000 small and medium businesses have shut down in Kerala in the last 9 years.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, and it's led to a ton of job losses.
So he's saying it's not enough to just talk about helping businesses. You got to actually do it.
Exactly. And, it's not just a Kerala issue. It's relevant everywhere.
Makes sense. Every region wants economic growth, wants jobs.
Right. So Tharoor's comments, they've sparked a debate. Is the current approach working?
Or do they need a new plan?
Exactly. Okay, let's switch gears back to the financial world.
Okay.
Remember SEBI and the BSE?
Stock exchange stuff.
Yeah, those allegations that they allowed a fraudulent company to list, well, it's getting serious.
How so?
They're fighting back hard, saying the court didn't give them a fair chance to defend themselves.
Oh, so they're challenging the order for an investigation.
Yeah. And, it could have a big impact, this whole case.
On how regulatory bodies are treated, for sure.
Right. It raises questions about transparency, accountability, due process.
All the important stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to end on a positive note. Let's talk about something good that's happening.
All right, I'm all ears.
Car safety.
Oh. Huh.
The Maruti Suzuki Alto K10. It's now the most affordable car in India to come standard with 6 airbags.
Wow.
Pretty cool, right?
Yeah, that's huge for safety. Makes it accessible to more people.
Exactly. It shows they're prioritizing safety even in a budget-friendly car.
Good for them.
And it could push the whole industry in the right direction.
Hopefully. Safety should be a priority for everyone.
Absolutely. And on that note, we've come to the end of our deep dive into India's news. It's been quite a journey.
It has.
We've seen the challenges India's facing, but also the incredible progress, the innovation, the resilience.
Yeah, it's a country that's constantly changing, always moving forward.
It is. And these stories, they're not just about India.
What do you mean?
They reflect themes that are relevant everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Economics, politics, social issues, the quest for peace, it's all connected.
You're right. We can all learn from what's happening in India.
Absolutely. So to our listeners out there, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep those deep dives going.